when I started, I just put myself in because I wasn't from an area where I didn't know anybody here. So that being said, I had to really like put myself out there and rely on other agents' listings and work on their open houses and do basically, answer phones for them, do whatever we could because that was really the only thing I had. So I just put myself out there to help other agents. And that was the first thing I did. And then after that, working on my friends and family that I did have and passed. I have no family here in this area. So it just became clients and people that I picked up that now I consider family. So.
Today we have Cindy Shetterly with us. She's one of the top producing agents here in Northern Kentucky, Cincinnati area. And Cindy, why don't you go ahead and give us a little bit of an idea of like how you did in 2022 and how you started off and a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, thanks, Brad. 2022 was a good year for us. Wasn't as great as 2021, but this is we think is going to be a better year than 2022. We did 450 units, totaling around 115 million. And this year we're on target. We thought we just closed our 120th this past weekend. So hopefully we're going to beat 2022.
Wow, looks like you're projecting that you're going to, aren't you? Based on those digits. Yeah, that's great. So with your business and you personally, what are some of the 3 big basics that you focus on?
3 big bases for myself is time blocking for sure. Having a certain time for everything that I do, starting with a morning routine on up to around 1 o'clock, because then 1 o'clock is free to do listings and to work on the business in the business. Number 2, yeah, go ahead.
No, so I caught that real quick. So at 1 o'clock, you're going to spend more time working on your listings and on your business and not in your business.
Right. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. So that time blocking for me is the most important. So I have the color codes and I code everything of importance, and listings are always green and closings are red, and personal is pink. So I have all those colors in my calendar and try to keep those really organized.
That's great.
Yeah. 2 would be definitely part of that time blocking. In that time blocking would be lead gen. And so working, whether it be calling, writing notes, door knocking, which I haven't done in a long time, but we're getting back into that just because our inventory is so low. And so those basic things of, working those times. So that would start at 1 o'clock as well, but working on that lead gen during that time. And 3 would be trying to find that work-life balance for me and spending time on myself. And that meaning with my husband or cooking or with the dogs and walking and going to plays, and really trying to set that time, making a balance, because it's really hard in this business to get that balance.
Yeah,
as you know, Brad.
You on that. I agree with you 100%. It is hard to make that balance work out. And the last conversation we had, we were on the phone walking the dog, and that was that was a little bit of your time right there, wasn't it? When you're out there walking the dog, still doing a little bit of work too. Then Irene got into a little bit of trouble, didn't she, with the other dog?
Oh, she's so bad. Yes, she's so bad. But it's really fun because taking that time to decompress, and my husband does the same thing. And we fight to see who can walk the dogs in the woods at night. And it just becomes a place of just really letting go and listening to those birds and listening to the water and those kind of things that you don't realize how important they are. Then I go back in and just getting away from for minutes, a 40-minute walk is just incredible to come back and kind of refocus again.
Yeah, getting out in nature is one of the keys too, is because you're outside and you're around other
Yeah.
things and you're absorbing the nature that's out there, and it just calms your whole body, and it brings you to a different level of like calmness, right?
I agree 100%. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah.
So that's great. So what with that, now that we got the three basics, what are two resources that make you think, if it weren't for these two things, I wouldn't be where I'm at today with the team and all that? Two big resources.
Yeah, so the resource would be friends and family sphere. That's one of the big resources, building a business that is based on friends and family is critical. So friends, family, and past clients. So that resource is the number one resource for sure to do. So I think if I look at where what made me happen was just when I started, I just put myself in because I wasn't from an area where I didn't know anybody here. So that being said, I had to really put myself out there and rely on other agents' listings and work on their open houses and do basically, answer phones for them, do whatever we could, because that was really the only thing I had. So I just put myself out there to help other agents. And that was the first thing I did. And then after that, working on my friends and family that I did have and past. I have no family here in this area, so it just became clients and people that I picked up that now I consider family. So that would be definitely one of my things for sure.
Gotcha. So you built a lot of your clients and your sphere from the originally doing some open houses and helping other agents and just meeting a lot of people at these different open houses as they would come through, and then capturing their information and kind of holding on to them and meeting them and helping them with their home purchase. Or even sometimes would you just put them in your database even if you didn't actually work with them overall and keep them that way?
I don't remember if I did that where I wouldn't put them in, because I used every single person that came through the door, and whether it was that moment or not, just sent them these. But I think everybody who who I came in contact with, for sure I did.
Okay.
That was important to me. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's definitely something. So if I was to ask you this question, what will your legacy be? What do you want your legacy to be?
Well, that's a really good question, because my daughter, I'm trying to build a business that, that can be turned over to her. So she's actually working on her license now. And, I told her, you can't start your business in Arizona without me there if you're going to take on and have it, something that I built. So she's actually working on her Arizona license she has. So now we're working on her Kentucky license to actually build on to my business. So having a company, if I was to pass, it was always a scary thought that when you stop working, your paycheck stops. So there is no other way, there's no retirement in this, there's nothing. So to build a business that I can keep running without me being there is really important. And so for her to be in a position where she could take it over is what my main goal was and is.
Okay. Yeah, that's amazing. That's awesome. So get it all set up to where she could eventually take the reins and move on with it. Um,
Yeah.
so what does your team look like today in today's environment to close that much in volume and that many units? What's your team look like?
Well, I always say I'm super impressed because I go to these other events and hear people, and they have teams of 25 and 30 and 35 doing the volume that we're doing. And so I have 8 buyer's agents that are active. And then I have behind the scenes a marketing person and a transaction coordinator, and then 1 director of operations. So that is something that is, we're really proud of. The people behind that don't sell actually do a lot of work. So I'm really, I'm just so blessed to have an amazing person that takes care of that paperwork. And I think that that's one of the things that, being a newer agent and on my own, Brad, was finding a person that could do the stuff that I didn't like to do, that I was able to delegate as soon as I got to a certain point, that I didn't have to do my own paperwork, so that I could be out with people and really talk and stuff. So that was a big thing that I should have added earlier.
Okay. So that's one of the things that you wish you would have added earlier, was like a transaction coordinator, like an admin to handle the paperwork behind the scenes.
Yeah, so my director of operation was my first admin, and she helped me in 2008, I guess, 2007 and 8 and 9. And so she helped me do all that paperwork and everything. And then I hired, a real person to help me do all the paperwork after that. Yeah. We didn't know the name because we didn't know what a transaction. She was just my assistant at the time. But yeah, so she helped me do everything that I hated doing.
Gotcha. It kept you out there doing the things that make the most money, which is talking to people and meeting new
Yeah.
people and adding people to the sphere and
Yeah.
calling on the past client database. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
I got one final question for you. If you were to start all over today as a brand new agent, what would your focus be today?
Making phone calls,
Okay.
calling people, not being afraid to pick up the phone and dial people and ask for business. Because if you're not going to do it, somebody else will.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So calling everybody, right? Everyone in your phone,
Yeah.
everybody you know.
Yeah. Just not being afraid and getting out there, going to, when you're stopping in the grocery store and asking the teller, the clerk, the checkout person, are you gonna be, anyone who's been moving here or that's gonna move or things? That's how I started and got a lot of business that way. And they'd say, no, not this week. And next week go the same person. Hey, do you have anybody this week? Did you hear anybody moving? Are you thinking about, well, we're actually cleaning up our house now to do so. We need to get you to come out in 2 weeks. Okay. 2 weeks. All right. I'm coming back next week to check on you. Just all that kind of stuff.
Wow. So just being persistent and always asking for the business. Is that kind of
Yeah.
okay. Yeah. Making a lot of phone
Everybody
calls,
likes
always
to
being good.
talk real estate. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Everyone does like that. It's one of the main things out there, especially with everything in the media today. They want to know what's going on, what's happening, and and and
For sure.
how they can take advantage of it and get out there. So I
For
appreciate
sure.
all your
Yeah.
time today. It's a real honor to get to ask you these questions and to get to spend time with you. And I'm sure that everyone that hears this that's a new agent would really find it beneficial to understand like what you've done to be successful. And I mean, you're number one in Northern Kentucky and just absolutely killing it. And it's an honor to have this time with you.
Oh, thank you, Brad. It's been an honor speaking with you, and thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you. I'm going to go ahead and we'll talk soon. And I appreciate your time today.
Thanks, Brad. Take care. Bye.
Thanks.